Okay, as a reminder to media, please wait for the mics. There's one on each side of the room. This time we'll open up the questions for Tommy. First question over here on the right, on the left, Kristen.
Tommy, I know in the regular season we talked that when you came off the IL, how you were kind of looking at some of your at-bats for, in a sense, like spring training. Then you kind of started to get hot, then cooled off a little bit. As you were getting ready for October and just considering the success you've had this postseason, where would you just say your at-bats are at right now and just kind of the feeling you have at the plate at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's kind of more just mid-season. I mean, if you just track when I started playing games again, we're about in, I think, like end of May or beginning of June, basically. And yeah, I think what was nice was having that bye, honestly, because we had I finished the season really cold, and then I had like 5 or 6 days to really do some good work on the swing, and definitely have felt better once the postseason has started. So yeah, in that sense, I mean, it was we're definitely kind of like mid-season, I would say, early to mid-season.
Okay, over here on the right, Peter in the front.
Hey, Tommy. You've played with Shohei Ohtani for a little while now, but when he hits a home run like yesterday, I mean, does he still surprise you in some ways when you see something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes off his bat different. I mean, it's like a golf ball, you know. He's just, yeah, I don't know. I keep saying I've never seen a ball hit that far, but at some point, like, you've seen a bunch of Shohei's homers. So it was, everyone is special, though, you know, to see a ball go that far, like, over the foul pole where you couldn't really tell if it was fair or foul. It's pretty impressive.
What have you kind of made of his first postseason, especially with the kind of interesting splits with runners on base versus not?
Yeah, I mean, he's been clutch when we've needed him the most, you know. So, I don't know. I think it's just kind of one of those weird things. I don't think he's necessarily pressing, because if he was pressing, then he wouldn't be performing with runners in scoring position. So, I don't know. I mean, he's such a good hitter that I would guess that it's just kind of random the way it's turning out. But, you know, never know. I don't really know what's going on or the numbers behind it exactly, like the pitch percentages or anything like that, but obviously he's had success with runners in scoring position, so hopefully he can keep it that way.
Okay, first row on the left.
Hey, Tommy, Crystal Rich, KTLA. You already mentioned it. The late homers were huge last night, but you guys also did a good job of kind of playing some small ball early, getting runners on, getting those base hits. You had that sac fly to bring in runs. How important is that in this series?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of both. We've had some games where we've really slugged, and then others where we haven't as much, but still found ways to score. And I think you got to do both to win postseason series, because there's going to be games where you're not necessarily hitting that well, or you run into a really good pitcher where you're going to have to manufacture some runs. So I think that's one thing our offense has done really well, is finding ways to score in both ways.
Fabian on the left, second row.
Yeah, Tommy, most of that work with your swing, has that been from like the left-handed side of the plate?
Yeah, a little bit of both. You know, I kind of am working on similar things from both sides, but yeah, my righty swing felt pretty good end of the year. Lefty swing didn't feel very good, and now my lefty swing's really feeling good again.
Is it one of those things where like it's hard to read it into too much, like what one swing looks like versus the other? Because I know there's a pretty wide split between the right-handed swings versus the left-handed swings, especially this season.
Yeah, I definitely have different cues, just kind of like what, because it's my top hand is dominant on the right side, and then bottom hand dominant on the left side, so you can't do exactly the same thing. But it's, I don't know. I mean, for me, it's kind of just more about, using like the backside of my swing a little bit better with the left hand and left back hip. So it's, and I think I do a better job of that naturally right-handed. So it's, kind of just trying to get the swings like a little bit closer to each other, so they're a little bit easier to manage.
Down here in front, Ron.
As a kid, how did you start switching? And in the last few years, it seems to be a breed that's dying out.
I think it's dying out because it's really hard. You got two completely different swings, and it's hard enough to manage one swing as is. And I started, I kind of had messed around with it going back to like Little League. I would just hop in there left-handed from time to time when I was like 11 and 12. And then I finally started doing it right before my freshman year of high school, and actually went away from it sophomore, junior year. And then after I committed during the summer of my junior year, the coaches, my college coaches had said, hey, why don't you try switch hitting again? Like, I think it could be a valuable asset to you. And I ended up switch hitting my senior year of high school and did well, and then just kept doing it ever since.
In the age of analytics, do you have twice as much studying to do for each game?
Yeah, there's a lot, It's, Yeah, definitely you got to put in a little bit more work, just because you got two sides to manage. But I think it's helped out and paid off. There's some right-handed pitchers that I'll face lefty. I'll be like, I'm glad I don't have to face this guy right-handed, and same thing with lefty as well.
Thank you. So I think a few more. We're going to go to Carrie in the middle, in the back. No. Carrie.
Tommy, you've been on postseason teams throughout your career, but is there anything different about the way this Dodgers team attacks its preparation and responds to the pressure of the postseason?
I think the attention to detail is just really good. We're always trying to find an edge, and everybody does their homework. Everybody's prepared and for certain situations that come up. And I think the other thing that separates this team is just the experience, and I think everybody just has very cool, calm and cool demeanor. Moment doesn't really get too big for anybody, and I think just having a lot of guys who have been there in big moments definitely helps out to be able to perform when those situations arise.
You're going to take one more here on the right in second row.
Tommy, you got to play with Harrison Bader for a few years in St. Louis. I'm wondering if you could just talk about how he's developed as a player and then also just what it's like competing against him right now.
Yeah, Bader, he was one of my favorite teammates. He's got great energy. He always comes to the field, ready to work, really hard worker, and just has a ton of fun out there on the field. And he's a really talented player, one of the best defensive center fielders I've seen, and he was a joy to play with.
Thanks, Tommy.
Of course.
Okay.